Hello, my viewers. This is Josh24214, and yet again, we are back for another Friday. And everybody knows what Fridays always have. It's always a My Hero Academia read through chapter today. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be tackling chapter 240. 240, ladies and gentlemen, of My Hero Academia. And this this chapter This might be the official end of the Quirk Liberation Army. You know what that means. We I've just read through my first storyline, my first real arc for the first time for My Hero Academia. And before we begin, yeah, so we have chapter 240. And chapter 240, and it's titled My Hero Academia Chapter 240, which is called Power. Yeah, this is getting serious. And the last week on last Friday, we had Redestro and the Shigaraki fight finally ending with Redestro just bowing to his new Dark Master. That is Shigaraki. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes two simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. And 240, we start on page 1. Bit of a continuation. I thought last week we were going to go straight back to the heroes and continue where we left off. But this is more of the epilogue of this arc. So, on page 1 of chapter 240, the top of the page says that it's been 1 week after the gang war between the Liberation Army and and the and the League of Villains in Deca City. The big gang of Deca City, the big gang war, the gangs of Deca City is finally over. And yes, I did make a reference to Gangs of New York. I wish I could make a goddamn poster of that awesome poster of that movie. I wonder if somebody would make that. So we get like little bits of the scars of the battle with the bit of the flavor text. We get the usual logo of My Hero Academia and with Horikoshi as the main writer and number 240, Power. And we get more of the normal big square tech boxes as we see survivors of Deca City's big gang war and made up footage. So I think this is probably Spinner still talking at this point. The tragedy of the once tranquil city. The perpetrators were a group of 20 men and women who held a grudge against the heroes. Supposedly eyewitness report in quotations. By falsifying reports of organized crime, they drew the heroes out of the city before beginning their gang war, their attack. In response to the sudden onslaught, the citizens of Deca City took up arms in order to defend themselves. And we see this faked footage, and we cut on to what's really going on with Skeptic spinning his yard, spinning his webs in lies and falsifying what really was going on in Deca City with his monkey ape clones. And Skeptic is just doing a clever job of creating falsifying information. And we get more of the flavor text with Spinner. Soon after, the heroes returned to join the fight. After a fierce battle in which many innocent citizens was lost their lives, the deaths of all 20 criminals in the group were confirmed. Furthermore, at the time, the CEO of Dinarat Corp of Corporation Dinarat Corp Dinarat Company Furthermore, at the time, the CEO of Deneret Co., the real name of Redestra, and I'm just still gonna call Redestra because I would just butcher this goddamn Japanese. I am terrible. Rikia, Rikia. I'm just saying the last name. It's much easier, but I'm still calling him Redestra. Happened to be present in the city. Despite losing both his legs in the fierce battle, he escaped with his life, and we see more of the falsified bull. Like, some bits of information was true, that they did say in the press that that Redestro survived, and we get little bits of newspaper articles in the middle of the page 2 saying a terrorist attack on the hero support Dineret company Dineret. And we get a little reminder, yeah, that one of the lieutenants, we get a reminder that, yeah, one of the company heads, of the head of the newspaper journalist that was cryptic, was dead at the time. We get another reminder that the Sushuya exclusive meeting with Dineret CEO confirmed dead. Let's bring it back. That little fact that Toga was responsible for the death of that particular lieutenant, and that was Curious. Bringing back Curious and saying, yeah, she's freaking dead. And we get more of this flavor text with more politicians and what's been really going on. Some have argued that the use of quirks by untrained citizens greatly contribute to the death toll, but the public has largely proclaimed that the decisive actions of the citizens as bold and heroic. With many holes in the story remaining, the investigation still continues. And this would and with the stuff that's going on with the public getting this information, what happened in Deca City, this might start turning up the heat with the hero corporation, the hero society. The public is going to be pissed at this kind of information. That some people claim it's still illegal to use their use, but trying to get the Quirk Liberation Army is getting kind of a bonus out of the deal with Shigaraki being involved now. And at the last panel of the page 2, we see, strangely enough, sushi, and there's a good goddamn reason. So, on to page 3, we cut back to what's been going on with the League of Villains, with the League of Villains. They're all having sushi and having a good time, devouring whatever they could find. I guess some people were actually called it that they were going to have a sushi party and go nuts. And we see starting of a conversation between Mr. Compress, and he's saying, so this is what they mean by the calm before the storm. And we get that he's talking to Dobby at this point. And Dobby continues, You didn't do jack, man. Chill. I managed to escape just fine. And that's probably Mr. Compressed talking. So we cut back to Spinner, and he gets his into this conversation. Hey, Dobby, if you don't want yours, I'm gonna take it. And Dobby replies, yeah, go ahead. I hate fish anyway. And he's just like, yeah, do whatever. Go nuts. Eat my share. I don't care. I'm not interested. And strangely enough, on the next panel, we see twice with a picture frame of the dead Toga clone. dead Toga clone having a memorial and everything, like having the picture frame with the ribbon. That's probably how you usually do a when somebody dies, a funeral. They twice just gave a funeral to Toga's dead clone. It was probably gonna die, and he goes bawling nuts. Wow, Toga-chan, I'm so sorry. If only she didn't spare her blood back then. Perhaps she'll still be. And before he continues, he's just bowing the whole time and doing things at a funeral. But somebody interrupts. Could you stop that already? And we see in the last panel of page 3, we see Toga is the real Toga's just fine. She's fine, and the artwork is kind of, how should I describe this? She's kind of have it in a very, I don't know if it's the artwork. I know it's the artwork. We see that Toga's just completely fine. The only thing she has is like a couple of scratches on her face and an eye patch covering her eye. I thought, even though that she got kind of an explosion kind of mind going off in her face, I guess the scarring would have been a lot worse than I was picturing. A lot worse, but it's only just an eye patch and like I can't really count, like 1, 2 scratches, and she's fully recovered and kind of a weird by the panel. It's kind of a little, you know what I'm talking about. It's a little. It feels like it's somehow. I know that Horikoshi doesn't get into the cheesecake a little bit, if you know what I mean. This panel kind of makes me feel like this is his way of adding a little cheesecake and having a bit of a reference to a film Basic Instinct, but hopefully she doesn't like open her. I don't like. Hopefully, when the anime gets caught up to this and this scene occurs, I don't want to see Toga like crossing her legs over in reference to Basic Instinct. You know, the interrogation bit that everybody talks about. Hopefully, we don't get that. Most likely, we might. And we get Toga's continuation of the dialogue. It's pretty disturbing to see that when I'm still alive. And Twice still continues with his bawling and he accidentally smacks the funeral pyre for the clone. Now, can we be going about, now, can we can't be going around disturbing others. Ah, my leg. My leg is moving on its own. What are you doing, leg? He's like moving his head, just keeps bowing and nodding. I'm just a bad boy. Please don't hit me. Eh? What the hell are you saying? Eh? The hell are you saying, me? And we have Dobby butting in and Spinner butting, both Dobby and Spinner butting in, and Dobby says, Didn't he get over his complex? Looks like there are even more of him now. Looks like his treatment, in air quotations, just made his condition even worse. So, yeah, even though that he can clone himself multiple times now, and even he got cured that, he's backpedaled a little, and he's still crazy as ever. And then, Skeptic comes in through the door, and he's like, it's time, let's go. And we see Twice interrupt him again. Shut the hell up! I'm still eating my sushi! My god. Oh god, Horikoshi, I really like how you write Twice, and yeah, and strangely enough, we get a bit of a, in the second to last panel, page 4, we kind of have a weird panel of a piece of sushi with the word Maguro? Maguro? What the frick is this supposed to be? Like, why does this weird panel just. No, I'm not kidding here. There's a panel, second to last panel. There's a piece of white background, a little piece of sushi with the words Maguro. Is Horikoshi a fan of Monty Python and this is his reference to the interception scene? I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Okay, yeah. So we cut after that weird nonsense, that random bit. We cut to everybody leaving, and I think it's Skeptic and Trumpet are escorting them. So everybody leaves without, and Skeptic interrupts, starts a conversation. Excuse me? Who do you think paid for that sushi? Not to mention your medical bills, the video editing, and Toga's coat. Oh, for God's sake, they even brought the frickin'. Oh, yeah, by the way, Toga's got her coat back, and they still have to continue the joke. And weirdly enough, Toga's like hiding behind Twice, giving Skeptic the bug eye. Weird. And yeah, I think Twice is saying that? Saying this next part? He says, yeah, well, who do you think was the one who let that Baldy stay in this cool-ass hideout? And Trumpet interrupts. Stop it, Skeptic. And on page 5, we have Trumpet continue. The Supreme Lead. We get like he wants to say leader, but I think he gets like a little electric buzz, like when he's just about to say the supreme leader. There's a bit of dialogue saying bzz, as in that he got electrocuted, like or get stunned by a stun baton or something, and he changes his meaning of the word. And he continues, and Trumpet continues. Destro chose these gentlemen himself, after all. And we see someone holding out a watch, and the watch is pointing? Okay, that's a bit weird for another panel. And as it continues, this is probably Trumpet continue. Although this may be a discussion of Destro, it is also the will of Destro. And everybody goes down a hidden passageway, down the stairs, into a hidden elevator, and the elevator pops up in basement 1, and the elevator goes down to basement 4, like basement 4th floor, and we get into a big rallying speech with Destro and having a big meeting with his liberation army involving Giga hiding like far away into the background. And this is probably Destra. And Destra's got himself a fancy new wheelchair, and yeah, I kind of dig the wheelchair. Kind of super futuristic. And Destro continues he goes on in a bit of a speech. My comrades of the Liberation Army, it is I, Destro. Today, and we see a bit of a panel to the side that Shigaraki's all in we see Shigaraki in a suit with I think the coat of, I'm not 100% sure. I think the coat of maybe Hall, And somehow one of his hands that he used of his dead family somehow survived. And he's saying, it feels all prickly. And while that weirdness is continuing, we see more of the Reed Destro continues his speech. The Liberation Army will be reborn. And we see while this is going on, we have Spinner and Toga having a bit of a conversation, and Toga brings up the fact weren't Shigaraki's cute little hands all crushed up earlier? And Spinner replies, apparently one of them survived. It's a miracle that it managed to stay in one piece after all that. And Toga says, well, isn't that convenient? Well, I can't believe like one of his hands survived. I was pretty much okay without him. And we see more of the people while listening to the speech, and Retestro continues. When it came to enlightening the world with ideals of the ideals of Destro, I had believed that the League's existence was not but an obstacle. Until that day, I had regarded this as the absolute truth. Oh, how blind I must have been. I was swept away by my blood, bound by bound by bound by my teachings. But on that day I witnessed true liberation. Hear me! This is not surrender. And he's trying to make this all in a wheelchair, and we move on to page 8. The man you see before you, Shigaraki Tomura, is one who has is truly liberated. He is the one who is worthy of the utmost revengeance. Virgins. The utmost revengeance. Or I don't know how you spell that. Revere I'm just saying it as it is. He is the one who is worthy of the throne. Starting now, the Liberation Army shall carry out the resurrection with Shigaraki Tomura as its supreme leader. Together, we shall walk the true path of liberation. The Liberation Army and the League of Villains shall henceforth be united under a new name. A name was devised by myself, Redestro, and Spinner of the League. And now, to do the honors. Ah, come on. Shigaraki Tomura. And we have Shigaraki speaking this next part. And we see all the villains come out, and including Spinner and Trumpet coming out as well. And Shigaraki says, just the new name of this new freaky army of the Liberation Army and the League of Villains. And he calls this new band. And Tomura says, Shigaraki says the name, and it's called the the primor the Paranormal Liberation Front. The Paranormal Liberation Front. That's I'm sorry. That's it doesn't capture fear, you know? It's a dumb name. I'm just saying it's kind of a dumb name. And, yeah, evolution isn't mandatory, but still, Paranormal Liberation Front. And Shigaraki continues. Well, this new name is just like this script. Irrelevant. Go nuts. Go wild. And Shigaraki's just like, you know what? Even he shares my thoughts. It's stupid. And he's just saying, you know what? Go nuts. I don't care. And I shall do the same. And continuing more, and I don't know who's speaking, but I think this is probably still Shigaraki still speaking. abandoning the title of villains in order to broaden the world's understanding of special abilities. We shall henceforth be known as. Oh, I think I screwed it up. And this was going to go into Paranormal Liberation Front, but that's stupid. Furthermore, I now designate the 9 members on stage with me as commanding officers who shall coordinate our forces at their discretion. And everybody goes frickin' nuts. And on page 10, we get the return of Hawks is in this very celebration and of the Paranormal Liberation Front. And Hawks is not. When we get into Hawks' head, and he continues, I was too late. I was too late. And now he's got this much. What happened? Oh, and I think we get a flashback to what was going on. What happened at Deca City? That was you guys, wasn't it? And now he's got this much. If you just had if you just if you had just captured the League when you had the chance, think of how many citizens might still be alive today. And we see that we catch up with where Hawks had the big bag a few chapters back. He drops it off and he starts opening it. And no, actually, it's Dobby who's opening up the bag. And he looks inside the bag. Huh. And on page 11. Oh my god! Oh my god! Best Genius was in the bag, and everybody was saying it that Best Genius was in the bag. And yeah, remember what I said way back when Best Genius was gone, and people were saying that yeah, Best Genius is dead, and I said in that chapter, as long as we don't see a dead body, his dead body, then he could be all right. He could be hiding. No, they actually show the dead body, and he's freaking dead. We see his dead body in the bag, and we continue the conversation. Well, whenever this is the real deal or not, the fact is that you killed man. And yeah, Hawks is a murderer. He killed Best Genius in his goddamn apartment and stuffed him into a bag, and oh my god. And we get more of Hawks' dialogue. We don't know if this is the real Best Genius, but at this point, we see a dead body. That could be the real one. And we see more of Hawks' dialogue, and he continues, an army united under a single ideal, a company with full control over the world's networks, a company with deep connections to the industry, and most likely several more of those high-end nomus. I had expected something, but this is too much. Shigaraki. In this modern society overflowing with heroes, Shigaraki Tomura has now come to obtain power which rivals the heroes, if not more. And yeah, Shigaraki's got a bigger army now, and on page 12, oh god, what the hell's up with Reed Destra there? He kind of goes full Joker there with his face, and he's just clapping and just, yeah, woo, goes crazy. And he continues, what an excellent performance out there! Would you perhaps like something to drink? And Shigaraki continues, get lost. And Redestra is like, with pleasure. Let's get lost, Generat. And I don't know which one is leaving with Reed Destro, and I think it could be Trumpet or Skeptic, and he's saying, I don't I don't want to see him like this. And Spinner Budson is sucking up like is sucking up like that how he rose up so high, and I think twice buggers off somewhere. And we see the next panel. We see Shigaraki hits the floor, writhing in pain. Urgh! And Spinner's like, "Hey!" And Mr. Compressed butts in. Honestly, it's a miracle he's still alive with how much damage he took. And while Shigaraki's on the ground, we get someone radioing in, and it's the Mad Doctor, and he butts in, and he starts a conversation. That's quite the schwanky name you got now, isn't it? Well, I suppose it's better than a cheesy sounding name like the League of Villains. And he's just being sarcastic. And Shigaraki continues, I got Giga to obey me. I think I've achieved the bare minimum you asked for, don't you think? And we see Mr. Compressed butts in, saying, it's the Mad Doctor. And we cut away to the Mad Doctor's laboratory, and he continues his conversation. Your memory has returned, and along with it, your quirk has returned as well. As I promised, I shall grant you power, if that is what you desire. And we see Shigaraki all pleased by that. And the Mad Doctor continues, however, there's something I want you to do for me first. I want you to deliver something for me. And I think we see like a. Well, that dialogue is going on like a feather, a random thing in the panel is floating, and we don't know if that's a feather or not. I'm just saying it's a feather. And we don't know what the Mad Doctor wants to deliver. And we cut back to Hawks, and he's like intermingling with the Liberation Army, and people are just saying, "Let's have fun liberating together." I never expected Hawks to be here. Hey, and someone say, "Hey, what are you doing, number 2?" And we got Dobby coming in, and Dobby continues, "You look quite happy." And Hawks continues, "Ah, I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the gang." Not yet. Not yet. There's still someone supporting them behind the scenes. I got to uncover the full story and report back to Endeavor as soon as possible. Now then, Hawks. Even the slight Now then, Hawks. Even the slightest delay, and it's all over for Japan. And we get a closed captioning. The threat closes in. Next chapter, a new development. Number chapter 240 ends. And that's it. That's the end of chapter 240 of My Hero Academia. And yeah, we might as well call this the end. We closed the book on the Quirk Liberation Army. So yeah. What are we going to do for chapter 241? Are we just going to cut the back to the UA students of what they've been doing while all this madness was continuing? And yeah, so yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see until next week. So there's no break, no mentioning of a break, so we might be getting 241 next week. So until then, I hope to see you all, and I'll see you next week. This is Josh24214 signing out, and don't forget to comment and subscribe. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and see you next time. Bye.